Look at this now, 10.3 kilometers from the finishing line, and now Alejandro Valverde, who won at the top of this climb in the Tour de France last time we came up it, now looking straight into the eyes there, Rodriguez, but Nibali's gone. Unfortunately, the tree's in the way, but there's definitely a move. There it is, and Chris Horner straight after him.
Yeah, fantastic move there. Valverde, obviously, to me, finished one of the strongest yesterday on the final climb, coming from behind. But it still looks like it's these two riders that are by far the strongest riders left in the race.
Well, 10 kilometers to go for Alexander Geniez, and I think he's going to make it. He's still got 5.5 minutes on the group. The group continues to attack one another. Rigoberto Urán is now having a little move on the left here for Team Sky. They lost their first rider today, sadly. Luke Rowe abandoning, the only English rider left in the event. And as Urán starts to move away now, is anybody going to come after him? He's not in the high position he was holding at this stage in the Giro d'Italia earlier this year. The final climb, 16.7 kilometers, and the steepest gradient on it, 13.3%. There's still just about 12 riders together there. This rider continuing to blaze a lone trail as he looks to become the winner of the French stage of this year's Tour of Spain. Now this is an interesting move, and I could suggest why that the Française de Gers was Anthony Roux setting the pace, because now Thibaut Pinot's trying to finish it off. That's the 11 kilometer mark for, we'll still call it the peloton, but it's more like a large group now, as they continue to treacle through that 11 kilometer to go banner. Back up front, it's his own team that's trying to destroy him just now, but I think they've realised he's got 5 minutes and they're free to attack within. I think he's just 2 kilometers in front, isn't he? He goes under 9 kilometers to go.
Thibaut Pinot is still having a go. I mean, he's on French roads. He'll have a bit of well, he'll have a lot of morale, especially after yesterday. Looks like he'd overcome his fear of descending, you know, for him to be in that group yesterday. Back on French roads, got a teammate out in front who may well go on to win the stage, and he's putting himself out at the front of this group.
How long can these boys keep going on hitting each other? By the end of this day, they will have done 2,400 kilometers of the scheduled 3,300. Now Roach has changed partners now, you may have noticed there. He's now joined another teammate up front, Rafael Majka. He was also in the breakaway, and I also caught a fleeting glimpse of Francis de Greef. He's been brought back and has disappeared into the pack, and probably off the back of it. The Lotto rider must have wondered what was happening. Mikel Landa. And he looks about, he's about to be joined by a teammate here. This will be Nieva as he comes up towards him. Well, there's nothing like good news during the Vuelta de España, is there, Graham, to start right? Sam Sanchez, yes, to start. He's got his golden boots on when he won the Olympic gold medal. Rodriguez has hit them now. Well, they can't resist all of these attacks, surely, but Nibali himself decides he wants to go as he goes under the 10 kilometer banner. The lead is 8.3 from the finish. Rodriguez is being chased down by the race leader himself.
Well, as I thought, this race, this group here won't stay together. I can see these finishing one by one today. I think they're all tired. There's riders recovered well from yesterday by the looks of it. Sanchez, we saw just have a little go there, but he'd just been yo-yoing off the back of this group, and he just attacked really when there was a lull in pace. But we're definitely seeing the strongman at the front today.
It's a long climb for Sanchez's style, but Chris Horner is extremely attentive down there. Now there's the white jersey down there, and that is of Domenico Pozzovivo, who's been dropped by that group now, and he sits in fifth place overall, 1 place above Nicholas Roach. Roach could be climbing up a place if he can just keep the pressure on. He's still ahead of this skirmish that's going on behind him. Nibali, Horner, Valverde and Rodriguez, Thibaut Pinot, and I think that is Pozzovivo.
Yes, he's back. Yeah.
Is back there. So there's 5 of them there. Yeah.
There's a bit of looking at each other at the moment, a bit of tactics going on, but they won't be staying like this together. I can assure you of that.
Well, this skirmish has hurt the little advantage that Nicholas Roach had built here. He's changed his pacemaker, Not literally, by the way, because he's seen Zog drop away, but Madge has come back from the front group to help him now. They're doing their best for him, that's for sure. Whoop, Thibaut Pinot asked Nibali to move over while he kicked off the front. He's gone. Any reaction, or are they going to wait for this one? This may be a good one for the moment. Number 11 there is Pozzovivo. Now, the clock is running on Nicholas Roach under this banner. He had about 30 seconds. He hasn't lost that much. That's on Pinot, 27 seconds. Bring it back to this group. He's still got more than half a minute. So there's still a chance, but these little flurries of moves are hurting him for sure. Thibaut Pinot now, the man who abandoned the Tour de France, telling everybody, but he still had the Tour of Spain to ride. And now he's riding extremely well. He sits in 7th place overall. In his first Tour de France in 2012, he finished 10th, and he won a stage down in Pollentwy.
Those the great scenes of Marc Madio screaming out of the car, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Marc Madio, the great bike rider he was, double winner of Paris-Roubaix, now the team manager of FDJ. Right, well, he's got Pinot on the move now. No immediate reaction. I think because of the counter-attacks of Nibali, Valverde, Rodriguez, they've got to desist somewhere. And this man's got a lot more to pick up, so he's 4.5 minutes behind overall. Look at the time they've spent in the saddle today, Graham, over 6 hours. Still 15-20 minutes to go to the summit. We're at 7 kilometers to go. The man in blue is Alexander Genier. His team captain has just been put back in his place. The race is going to the summit, and the spread is 5 minutes and 9 seconds. So we're catching up with the leader, Genier, now. This is the calm before the storm, and that is the 5 kilometers to go banner for him. He's still conserving 5 minutes over the chase group, which is getting smaller as we come down. Now, we just got a short descent, Graham, and then we climb to the finish. Yeah, we've got 3.5 kilometres of the final part of this climb. It's not the most difficult, generally about 8%, and then the last kilometre is pretty much flat. Now we're looking there at Michele Scarponi, who's been in this mysterious breakaway you haven't seen much of all day. But we're going to see him brought back to the fold, I think, now, because on the left of your screen there is this very select group of about 9 riders now. And in fact, Pinot did try and attack, but he's been put back in his place. He's the rider in blue. The rider setting the pace here is Kieselowski. He is the teammate of Chris Horner, who's sitting there. Let's quickly see the change of direction. This is onto the final mountain now, up to the finishing line. It's been climbing all the time, but we had that small descent to change direction. And now its gap has come down. He's only got 3.5 kilometers to go. He's got over 4.5 minutes. It should be enough, and it should give the French a win on French soil today. We've seen 10 riders abandon the race again today. But now Genier has been out on his own for the last 30 kilometres of the day. Still Kieselowski. Is Chris Horner going to try and pull a few seconds back on Nibali? Nibali's still looking strong. I mean, every time either one's made a little bit of a move, they've both been there straight away. Still Kieselowski, followed by his teammate and captain Chris Horner. Nibali, the race leader, looking extremely solid. He's come through 2 horrendous days in the Pyrenees of Andorra and France, and he hasn't shown any weaknesses whatsoever. Valverde has hung on in there. He's got the green jersey of points leader on today, which is his by right after yesterday, but he struggled through these Pyrenees. 2.4 kilometres left, that's all, but it's such a long way when you're uphill all the way to the line. You must not ease off. 30 can see the finish now, right up there, Peyragudes. Now that surely is going to pull him up to the finishing line. The public will also be seeing him coming up this long exposed road. All I can keep thinking about, Graham, what would it have been like if we'd have got cold rain on this mountain today as we had yesterday, because it's so exposed. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not getting the crowds that we would in the Tour de France on Peyragudes, but I would imagine the weather has put a few people off today. Well, that's an attack by Sanchez there. Now, he may get away with that if he's got the legs. He's only 7 minutes behind overall, but it looks as though Kieselowski's not going to do anything more than keep the pace going. Chris Horner hasn't counted. Nibali's not interested. Valverde's not. He's just following. Pozzovivo is following Nibali and Valverde. Thibaut Pinot is back in the blue. Rigoberto Urán is the man in the black. Well, the good news in this last week about Fernando Alonso, the F1 double world champion, saying he's going to sponsor Euskaltel Euskadi next year, and all riders who have contracts, their contracts are safe. Ever since he said that, the team has had a complete rethink. They've got all 9 riders still in the race, only 2 teams have got all 9 left, and they're constantly in the frame. And now it is Sanchez trying to ride away from them on the way up the mountain.
Kieselowski's done his bit, he's just been dropped, and it looks like Rodriguez is the next to try his hand.
Well, he wants to look over, and look where he's got Nibali. Nibali is pushed over to the left of the road there. But Rodriguez is actually climbing back up here to his countryman. Horner just sits there, always number 2 wheel, has the grimace that looks like a smile, but he hasn't attacked. They are heading up to 3 kilometers to go. This is the nasty part of the climb, the steepest part. We're at 12% now. Pozzovivo sitting at the back, always yo-yoing when the pace goes up, but hangs in there.
Yeah, 1 or 2 gaps keep opening as the accelerations go, and then it eases up again. Pinot was struggling there. Sanchez again is just losing a bit of ground.
This is Majka as he drops back from Saxo Tinkoff on his little race radio there, saying, "Who's coming up behind me, boss? Does it matter?" Now they've left Horner on the front. We've gone up to the leader, who's approaching the finish. 1.4 kilometers to go now. Alexander Genier, heading for only his 2nd ever professional win, and way out the best. Now don't forget that Nicholas Roach we haven't seen. Majka's come back, he's done his pacemaking for Roach. Roach is still gaining time, albeit I think no more than about 25 seconds, but time is time gained after he lost a little bit yesterday.
Well, Horner's accelerated here. It's not so much an attack, but you can see he has put his foot down, and you can see 1 or 2 riders. Pinot's, I think, just losing contact. Yes, Pinot.
You're right. Pinot has gone back with Majka. And Urán has gone as well. Sanchez has gone after that attack. 5 riders left. Meanwhile, the cheers from the French and indeed the Spanish Basque on the left of the road there with the Basque flag. 5 riders. Pinot realised that was a bad wheel to hang on to there of Majka, and he's trying to cross the gap back up to the leaders. He's got about 1.5 kilometres to do it. Valverde looking at the back wheel there of Horner, thinking, last time we came up here I was the winner. That can't happen now.
Well, we're looking at actually that little group there is the first 5 on GC at the moment, isn't it? It's the first 5 riders overall, so that's a nice little group, and we've got the 6th rider just in front of them.
Just in front, and he might be swapping places with Pozzovivo if he can get enough time on him. Because Nicholas Roach there is only 23 seconds behind Pozzovivo, and he's about 23 seconds in front of him just now. So that's going to be a tight one to climb 1 place on the overall classification. There's the sight he thought would never come. The red kite, 1 kilometre to the finish for Alexander Geniez. This must be a wonderful feeling. He's never looked in trouble all day long. He went clear, he went over the top of the Porta Balez in 2nd place with Cardoso just ahead. He dropped him on the way down and has never looked back since.
He's also on the nice flatter roads now, so he won't have to fight his way all the way to the line. He can take his time and relax and enjoy the last kilometre.
Yeah, he's not racing for time. He's not interested in the 10-second win bonus because he's lost 71 minutes. 2 kilometres to go. And there looks to me like that is Nicholas Roach just ahead here. Horner's bringing this group up behind him, which will put him back in his place. Then we'll have the first 6 riders in the overall classification climbing as a group of 6. This is a moment to be enjoyed. Time is not of importance, Alexander Geniez has done what every Frenchman loves to do, that's to win on French soil, bringing the Spanish race for a rare visit to France, and he's on his own. The only other race he's ever won is the a stage of the Tour of Austria, and now he's won his first ever Grand Tour stage. He can't believe it, it's all worked out. And the Frenchman brings the race home after 6 hours and 20 minutes. Extreme cold, which has gone slightly warmer as he finishes here at Peyragudes. Terrific result for France, and particularly for Alexander Geniez. So he's in, the clock starts, but really it's the clock starts on Nicolas Roche is where we want, if they haven't already picked him up. They're still going past. That might be Andre Cardoso who's just come back into the group. Yeah, he was the man dropped by Geniez, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could well be. Sarada, we're just seeing there's another guy who was out in front earlier, has been picked up by this group.
Which actually David Arroyo, he was one of the riders up there as well. So Cardoso's still up there, I think. That's David Arroyo. This is the scene at the finish. And another good result. Second French win of the Tour. Now it's left to the race leader to bring up the men who are challenging him in the overall. Now still looking for Nicolas Roche as our camera pulls left. We should still, there he is on the corner. He's gaining seconds, and seconds could move him up one place overall. That's the way he's thinking at the moment. He's had two teammates drop from the break to help him, and he's had to push on now by himself. He's got to make the most of this tack. He's been brave enough to have a plan to work to today, to wipe away the bad memories of yesterday, and he must get something out of it, even if it's only a few seconds.
Exactly, he will do himself an awful lot of good, you know, in morale-wise to attack like this. It'll give him a real boost for this final week. 23
seconds ahead of the man at the back of this group. There he is, number 11, Posavivo. And Roche has just gone round the corner up there. That's not 23 seconds, so he may just about hang on to his 5th place overall tonight. These are the first 5 riders in the overall classification. Roche, and there he is 6th. Oh, those legs are hurting now. He's just gone under that kilometre bridge. Roche is hanging on now. I'm not sure how many riders are still ahead of Nicolas Roche. That's the problem, if any at all, because we haven't seen them all caught. We've seen the winner go across the line, Geniez. This is Scarponi. He's going to be in front as he comes up towards the line. So I think there are more than 3 riders in front of Roche. This is Scarponi. He had a bad day yesterday as well. 4th in this year's Tour of Italy. But today he went in the early move and he's hung on. It's been a pretty lonely day out for him, I must say, Graham.
Yeah, he's a bit better equipped today, clothing-wise, I think. So he's probably enjoyed the day more today, definitely.
I think a lot of riders learned the lesson yesterday. I can't believe, professional as they are, they didn't put enough clothes on yesterday. They've made up for it today. Forecast was bad today, but it hasn't come quite as bad as yesterday. Little kick out of Scarponi. I'd like to tell you he's finishing second, but in all honesty, I'm not sure. And that's Roche in the distance, who's just come round. That's Roche in the distance. Scarponi has hung on. He was with 2 riders earlier, but he may well have crossed second. Now, I think this might well be 3rd place for Nicolas Roche. He gets a 4-second bonus if it is. And here's the sprint now as he crosses. They're not quite round the corner yet, so there is still a few seconds to go. They only need to be 19 seconds behind. I think they're probably all of that. Well, here it is, a proud moment for France as the Vuelta a España comes home on French soil today. Alexander Geniez getting the win.
And a solo victory for the 2nd day running. Good for the morale of the men who jump into breaks full of hope every day. But the real race was going on behind Geniez and his fellow SKP Michele Scarponi. Nicolas Roche took the 4-second bonus for 3rd place, along with another 13-second real-time gap to the red jersey group, in which the first 5 finished together and almost in correct order. David Arroyo was just behind them, and Thibaut Pinot was just ahead of a group containing Samuel Sanchez, Leopold Koenig and Rigoberto Urán. No privacy for professional athletes on the Vuelta, although interesting to note that Nicolas Roche had an undervest on, which he didn't yesterday. Although apart from some rain early on before the TV coverage started, the conditions were much better for Roche today and he took advantage.
The best way to thank the guys for doing the hard work was to try again today, you know. I said I was going to try every single day, and I'm going to try every single day. I had in the heart to prove that yesterday was just a bad day because of the weather, not because I was cooked. And today everyone gave 100%. You know, I mean, even Chris, who sacrificed himself on Port de Balais, which wasn't easy a job at all, to try and get me close to the front group so it can close the gap after. And when you have the guys that are ready to give everything for you, it's only normal you give everything back.
So the French get their second stage win, fittingly on the stage inserted into the itinerary to mark the 100th Tour de France. And a Frenchman took the lead in the mountains competition too, Nicolas Adet, although he did it almost invisibly as far as the cameras were concerned.